Welcome to this intense courtroom drama. In today's case, we've got two young men charged with evading arrest, facing up to a year in jail and a hefty $4,000 fine. But here's the twist. Were they fleeing from the law because they knew they were caught, or did they simply panic? What really happened when the officers caught up to them? And how does this probable cause determination affect the entire case? Stick around because we're about to break it all down. From their desperate escape to a surprise revelation about one of the defendants, this is a case you won't want to miss. Who's in the wrong here? Let's dive into the details and find out.
You are charged with evading arrest or detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you. Okay.
On February 20th, 2025, officers were dispatched to First Baptist Church. A caller stated that a white pickup truck parked behind the Baptist Church and two Hispanic males exited the truck and were walking around the property. The officer arrived on scene and observed one of the ground level windows opened and a window air conditioner unit pushed in on the inside of the building. The officers then observed two Hispanic males exit the doors on the west side of the building. The defendants then turn and look at the officers and then run in the opposite.
All right, pause for a moment. These two men just ran 30 yards, then 20 more, and finally another 30 to 40 yards. Now this is where things get intense. The officers, thinking this could escalate, draw their duty pistols. But here's a question. When these guys see a cop and run like that, does that automatically make them guilty of evading arrest? Sure, the officers might have been justified in pursuing them, but it's important to note, running doesn't automatically mean you're evading the law. It could just be panic. Now, what do you think? Should they be charged, or were they just caught in a bad situation?
Direction for approximately 30 yards to C Street, run an additional 20 yards to First Street, and then turn and run an additional 30 to 40 yards. Due to the circumstances of the incidents indicating this was possible burglary in progress, with fleeing suspects who could have been armed, the officers drew their duty pistol and gave defendant Love Jr. several commands to get on the ground and allow him time to comply. He disregarded the command, so the officer took defendant Love Jr. to the ground. Defendant Love III ran around the building and then subsequently followed commands to lay on the ground. They were both contained. Defendant Love Jr.
Now here's the kicker. Defendant Love Jr. says, "We panicked, so we ran." It's an interesting defense, right? He's basically saying we weren't thinking clearly, it was instinct. But hold on a second. He looked right at the officer and ran anyway. That might be the turning point in this case. If he knew exactly who the officer was, this could seriously hurt his argument. Hypocrisy alert. He says it was panic, but did he actually know what he was doing? The emotional weight of this moment cannot be understated. The officers are clearly seeing this as a blatant escape attempt, but is it more about fear and bad judgment?
Defendant Love Jr. stated that they panicked, so they ran. The officer stated, "You looked right at me and knew I was a cop, but you still ran," to which the defendant stated, "I know, bro, it wasn't the right thing to do, sir."
Your Honor.
They look at the cop and they run.
Yes, Your Honor.
Cops never tell them to stop.
Exactly.
And what are they doing wrong? I guess, what is this, Minority Report? You know what I mean?
I don't have anything additional to say.
Guys, be careful. You know what I mean? How old are you, sir?
18.
You gotta be careful, man. When you start racking up convictions, doesn't get easier, man. It gets so much more difficult. And the more convictions you rack up, you're only 18, man. Life doesn't get easier. You get bigger, fatter, you lose hair. It doesn't get easier. And the more convictions you get, the worse you make life. Life is all about money. And if you have money, then life is great. And you only get it with one thing. This or this. Hard work or knowledge. Going around picking up cases, that's not the right way. Don't.
And just like that, the judge drops the bombshell. No probable cause found. This is a major blow to the prosecution. So even though the defendants ran from the cops, it wasn't enough to charge them with evading. But here's the question that's going to stick with us. If running from the police doesn't automatically justify a charge, when does it? And what does this mean for the future of law enforcement's discretion in these kinds of situations? It's a close call, and the line between guilt and innocence feels shaky at best here.
Don't pollute Do you understand?
Sir.
I'm going to find no probable cause on both of your cases.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take a seat.
Judge, this is Mr. Pierre Alexander.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Alexander.
We're in front of you today on a evading case, Judge. I want to see if you hear PC on this one.
Okay. Oh, he has a fugitive case too.
Yes, that was appointed previously on the fugitive. It's out of Mississippi, but he's got an evading, which we're dealing with today.
Okay. And he's got an open
Lindbergh,
burglary habitation.
upstairs, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Alexander, you're charged with evading arrest or detention. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
On February 20th, 2025, at approximately 1:00 p.m., the officer was conducting a proactive investigation of a burglary of a habitation in Harris County, Texas. The officer was in plain clothes and driving an unmarked police vehicle. The officer saw an individual matching the description of the suspect caught on ring camera burglarizing a house. The individual is later identified as the defendant. The officers observed the defendant crossing a road where no crosswalk was provided. And then the plainclothes officer advised a marked police unit to stop the defendant and ID him for the traffic violation. The officer approached the defendant in the marked police vehicle with emergency lights activated. The defendant noticed the officer and began to run through an apartment complex. The officer drove into the apartment complex and the officer in plain clothes drove into the apartment complex, and he was able to cut off the defendant and apprehend him. The defendant evaded for approximately 300
Did he even
yards.
tell him to stop?
So, but he was.
No.
No, we don't work on hunches, right? You can't assume anything.
I'm not, Judge. I'm saying that he saw the emergency lights were activated and he ran away from the police officer.
Did he tell him to stop?
No, Judge.
Yeah, no probable cause.
Thank you, Judge.
Of course.
So what does this case tell us about the fine line between a panicked escape and an intentional evasion? In the end, the judge ruled there was no probable cause to proceed with charges, but it certainly raises some important questions about how we interpret panic in these high-stakes moments. And that's a wrap on today's courtroom drama. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.